Hey awesome friends, welcome back to the channel. I am Awesome Danny, and today we're going to talk about this guy right here. This is the Kotori Vampire. I believe I'm saying that correct. Kotori Audio, nice box. So before we get into it, I do want to mention that Kotori Audio actually reached out and sent this to me for review. They didn't ask that I say anything in particular, just to give it my honest review, and that's what we're here to do, right? So let's go ahead and learn a little bit more about the Vampire. It is a single balanced armature set, just one. I haven't come across many of those. I think I've only tried maybe 3 maximum, but they've all been pretty unique in their own regard, and this one is no exception. So that one BA is a Knowles BA. They have it under Knowles full range balanced armature, and the set is priced at around $100. Unboxing was nice. It was well put together. Presentation was really nice, and it was still, you know, on the minimalistic side. It wasn't too much. It wasn't fluffed out. Quite a decent experience, especially at this price range. You get the bare essentials on accessories, but they're actually pretty good. Like, the cable is very light and thin, and it's very easy to use, very easy to live with, even though it has a really big splitter, and the splitter itself actually kind of heavy, but no issues in use. I was concerned at first, but there was no issues at all. You get one set of silicone ear tips. They kind of remind me of the Final Type E ear tips, and then they have the colored stems, kind of like the Sony ear tips. They come in a little carrying case, which is nice. They come in a little case instead of just thrown in a little baggie and then thrown in the box. They were nice. They were kind of difficult to put on this IM though. It's just, they had a lot of grip in the stems, so trying to put them on the nozzle, it would go like halfway, and then sometimes it would just pop out because I couldn't finish putting it all the way in. So it was just a little difficult. I ended up going with different ear tips anyways. And we also have a carrying case, which is one of those circular metal hockey puck cases, and it's lined with a spandex material on the inside, so it'll keep the IM safe. I mean, it's really sturdy. It's going to prevent it from, you know, any type of impact or crushing, not just scratches. But it doesn't fit everything in there if you keep the ear tips in their little case. If you just put in the IM and the cable, it fits fine. There's even a little bit of extra room, but other than that, if you want to put more stuff, you're gonna have to carry it separately or take the ear tips out of their case and throw them in there. So the IM shell itself is very tiny. It is super tiny and very easy to wear. It's comfortable. Like I mentioned, smaller side, very rounded, ergonomic, not intrusive at all, not uncomfortable at all. On the shell itself, but on the fit itself, these are actually not vented. At least as far as I can tell, I did not find any vents, and once they seal very well, and there's like no give whatsoever. So you have to make sure that when you insert them, you don't, you know, keep too much air in there and build up pressures. So I would do the little lift your ear, open your mouth when inserting. That way it had the most clearance possible and it wouldn't push as much air in there and keep it sealed in there. So that might be a deal breaker for some. If you are sensitive to any type of pressure, these will probably not be for you. They didn't build pressure like some other sets do during use. It's just once you get a seal, like, it's right there and there's not going to be any give or any changes. So you have to make sure that you prevent any pressure when inserting, and then you'll be fine. But some people might still just not find that comfortable. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some sound impressions. Let's start off with some graph sniffing, which I'll put it right here or here, maybe. Yeah, there we go. So go ahead and take a look at that graph. Big whiff. How does that look? You know, I noticed something while looking at this graph. Check this out. Huh? It's all coming together, isn't it? Anyways, enough of that graph. I want to go over the keywords that I have for this set. So my keywords for the Vampire are rounded, plush, velvety, and vague. Keep those in mind when we go over sound impressions. All right, so let's start with the bass. Bass front-ended. So what I mean by that, just to clarify for you guys that are not familiar with my terminology, it's mostly focused on that initial impact and slam of the mid bass, and less so on the rumble of the sub bass. So you get a good amount of thump, and these actually thump pretty good. Maybe it's because of the, you know, the no leak seal, but when these guys thump, that mid bass just boom, just straight into my eardrum and nothing escapes. They thump really good. Very fun. Sub bass is, I would say, is pretty much non-existent. It is very, very little. It's not very visceral rumbly. It's almost like you get the idea that it's there. It's like when you're on a diet and somebody describes what they had for lunch, and all you can do is think about how that would taste and how good it would be if you got to get some. That's basically it. You get the idea. It's there. You know it's there. Doesn't feel like it's really there. Moving on to the mids, which this was probably my favorite part of this set. The mids were super lush, warm, velvety, intimate, soft. There was some upper mid gain, you know, to give it just a little bit of like intensity and clarity, just a bit though. The mid bass does tend to cloud quite a bit. Instruments and vocals had a little bit of bite. They were more on the dull side and lacked a bit of refinement because of it. And this was for both male and female vocals. It's just like male vocals were super lush and warm and very pleasant. And female vocals, same thing, just had a little bit more intensity, but not too much, and overall soft in the outline. Moving on to the treble. Treble overall was pretty dark. There was a boost in the mid treble that would help a little bit, but overall it just kind of rolled off. Cymbals were pretty muted and blunt. There wasn't much presence or lower treble either. You can really tell with the outlines of sounds being just soft or blurred, just enough to give it some definement, but not a lot. All right, so techs were actually surprisingly good for this type of tuning. Well, some of them. Timbre felt pretty dark. Didn't feel authentic, but it wasn't like a glaring issue. It was just dark and a lot more viscous than, you know, expected. So overall details and the imaging is quite soft. So you get an idea of what's going on, but it is quite smoothed over. Also, stage is small, more intimate, but some details still pop out at you. That's what's, you know, with this tuning, there was still just enough to separate stuff, and some details were still popping forward, which would keep it engaging. But again, overall, still just more warm, fuzzy sound. Probably overall for techs, it would be below price point. If you want something a little bit more tech focused, there's other options at this price range. So we're going to compare it to, I mean, the obvious comparison, another single BA set. I almost said dynamic, because how many single BA sets we have and how many single dynamic driver sets we have. So Aful, MagicOne. Overall, both sets quite warm and smooth. MagicOne has the advantage overall in the techs. Tonality on both, I would also prefer the MagicOne. Build and accessories, pretty much even overall. They both are built very well. MagicOne would also win in comfort for me because they have pressure relief. The shell's a little bit bigger, but that's not an issue for me. But also keep in mind, MagicOne's like 40 bucks more plus tax or shipping or whatever. It's a good amount more, which I actually wouldn't buy the MagicOne for its MSRP. I would wait for a sale. So just price wise, I guess I would, if I really wanted to try a single balanced armature set, I would go with the Vampire. So overall, I would prefer the MagicOne over the Vampire, but the Vampire still is, you know, unique in its sound signature and also a lot cheaper. Like 50, 60 bucks is a lot. All right, so that brings me to the rec rating of the Kotori Vampire single balanced armature set. So my rec rating for this is 1. Overall tuning is quite niche in my opinion. Not everybody's gonna like this, not everybody's gonna enjoy this, and not everybody has a library for this, but I believe that it does what it's trying to do quite well. It's a good driver in there, it's capable, and the tuning just loans itself out to the more musical approach, something very soft and, you know, warm, something that's going to be very mellow and easy to listen to forever. Like I would have these on all day and be completely fine. It was very nice to just, you know, not feel like I'm really beating my ears up to test these out. Build accessories were good, really good, and also just the theme is very unique. It feels like a good, complete, cohesive package. It just didn't do K-pop as well as, you know, other sets that I would prefer at this price range. But anything that was like orchestral or maybe some jazz, anything that was more raw and authentic and real, this set will do very fine. Very laid back presentation. So there you go, guys. That is my review of the Kotori Vampire. I will have a link in the description if you're interested in checking it out. If you enjoyed the content, consider liking and subscribing, commenting, doing something. Anything helps. There's a lot of you guys that watch my videos and are not subscribed, and that makes Sunny very sad. Just being honest with you guys, that's what he told me. He was like, bro, like, how come so many people tune in but they don't subscribe? So if you don't want to make Sunny sad, consider subscribing, please. All right, so that's it. I am Awesome Danny, and until next time, you stay awesome, friends. Bye.
Danny and Sunny together in the light. That the time is sad, how every moment feels so right.